they just the problem is they're trying to be other films. They're not trying to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that's why they're not good. They're trying to be Friday the 13th. They're trying to be Nightmare on Elm Street. And they're trying to be other slashers. But Leatherface wasn't that character.
I'm not going to let him kill you. Fear no evil. Fear no evil.
What's up, YouTube? Drive By Movies here, and you are watching
Fresh Releases.
My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And we have a new movie in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise that just hit Netflix, and we are going to talk about it.
Try anything and you're canceled, bro.
Oh, fuck.
After nearly 50 years of hiding, Leatherface returns to terrorize a group of idealistic young friends who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town. So this is the return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Correct me if I'm wrong, James. I think this film correct me if I'm wrong. I think this film hops on the trend of ignoring all of the films before it and only really remembering the original film and why this film is being made, essentially.
Yeah, the original one with Jessica Biel, right?
No, sorry. No. Isn't that Platinum Dunes? I think those are canceled.
Or is that the one with Alexandra Daddario? Like, that one counts,
That's
right?
3D. No, I don't think any of those count. I think only the original Toby Hooper one counts.
I'm just messing around. Yes, that is correct. It's doing the new requel thing that Scream cleverly made fun of and stuff. No, I didn't like Scream, honestly. We reviewed it, or did we review it? No, we never did, actually. Well, my thoughts on that movie is just because a movie makes fun of requels or the current trends of horror films doesn't make it better than all those other horror films. It's just saying like, all right, yeah, it's self-aware, but it's still a crappy movie. And what we got here is a movie that's crappy, but very entertaining, but still very bad, but also really stupid. And but I liked, but it's horrible, and I don't know if I recommend it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
I think this movie sucks a lot, but at the same time, I think it was, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people that are going to be talking about this movie are going to be talking about two other films, Scream and also Halloween Kills. Sorry, Scream 5 or whatever the fuck it's called, and then Halloween Kills. And honestly, I haven't seen Scream 5. You've kind of basically, I didn't get a chance to see it, but I was just like, dude, just spoil it for me. I don't care, honestly. And when you spoiled it for me, I literally thought you were joking. Like, it sounded like a fan fiction movie, and I was just cracking up. But I did see Halloween Kills. We've talked about it on the show. Absolutely hated it. I thought it was just, and I actually liked the Halloween remake or sequel or requel or whatever you want to call it. But Halloween Kills is just, it was so bad. And I don't know if I'm going to watch the next one, but this was on the level of being bad. There's a lot of elements that are just so bad in this movie. But then I really liked a lot of the filmmaking in the movie. I liked a lot of the shots were cool. I thought the cinematography was excellent in this movie. A lot of their production design is really cool. I just really hate the script, and I really hate, I don't know if it's I wouldn't necessarily say all the direction, because I feel like the script is just so poor to work off of. And yeah, I guess just the overall film, I really just like the cinematography. That's about it, to be honest.
I expected great cinematography, it coming from Fede Alvarez, who's known for the Evil Dead remake. But what I am very stoked on was Don't Breathe, and his co-writer for the film, Rodo Saguyes. I might be saying that name wrong, but he wrote the first Don't Breathe and directed the second one. I love that series. The first one's amazing. The second one I thought was still a solid sequel. I know that movie wasn't as well received, but I think those are great movies. So I was hyped for them to take the helm on this. I thought they could do no wrong, and I could see visually they definitely had an input on it. you could say the director, coming in, like, he's not really to blame. Apparently they fired a director after 2 weeks of shooting and moved on to this director. So you can't really blame him. He's just working with what he had, I guess, for the most part. But it's really comes down to the script, which is so disappointing because I had such faith in them. Like, I thought we're in good hands, and I like the setup that they build. I like the idea of these like kids coming in and thinking that they're gonna create this brand new woke world that every young kid's gonna want to live in and stuff. And then it gets taken away. But then there's such dumb things like just bringing back the original main girl who survived. I thought just like played no part, did nothing, and just like really just slowed the movie down. And yeah,
I thought that honestly that was one of the parts where I'm saying I really disliked that, because I thought it was just so ridiculous. It was trying so hard to be the Halloween requel, and it's like there's just no emotional attachment there. She's only in one film. Just leave it alone. Leave the original. Where
there's not that much dialogue too. Yeah, they don't say that much in the first one.
She screams about 90% of the movie, and that's about it, to be completely honest. And I love, dude, don't get me wrong. I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, is one of the like honestly best horror movies ever made. I only got around to watching some of the sequels. Like recently, we watched the second film last year. I'd seen, I think, 3D or a couple other ones, but just I feel like the original is just there was nothing ever wanting me to see more of that character or anything, like, honestly. And after watching the second one, I'm like, I think I got my fix. The second one is just so insane. Like, even Tobe Hooper didn't try and make like a direct sequel. His was just so crazy, but it was still fun. But then the other films just, they just try to, the problem is they're trying to be other films. They're not trying to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that's why they're not good. They're trying to be Friday the 13th. They're trying to be Nightmare on Elm Street, and they're trying to be other slashers, but Leatherface wasn't that character. I think that they did do a good job in this film of like just making Leatherface absolutely, once he finally puts on the mask, they make him just absolutely that character. But before, it's just ridiculous where he's like not wearing the mask. I'm just like, I don't want to see this. This isn't like the character that I know. And just the timelines just don't work. Like, I feel like they just don't work at all. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
I find it weird that he went to an orphanage apparently, and this lady took him in and made him hide his chainsaw in the wall for whatever reason. Like, that was like dorky already, and just like, all right, fine, whatever. He sees like a mother figure in this lady and everything, but just like, it just didn't work and stuff. And like, it feels too much like a kill for become who you are. It sounded like a Pamela Voorhees at times and stuff. So I'm like, there's that just doesn't feel original. Then bringing back like the original character felt like Halloween. There's so much that feels like tropes from the other horror films, and it also kind of being self-aware, like feels too much like Scream. Like, yeah, you're right. Just do your own thing. Just be bizarre and weird. That's what the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies were. And I like that they were trying something different, but just it's too much of very familiar things that we've seen recently. And I think they're trying to go for that smart take on it. And like I said, I did like the setup, but yeah, very annoying characters. There was really no one to root for. Like the main girl, like, of course you're rooting for her because she's, a childhood. She had a horrible childhood, like surviving a school massacre shooting and stuff. So like, obviously right away, like, you're like, damn, that's dark. Like, of course I want her to survive, but just her sister is annoying. Her sister's boyfriend was annoying. Just like the guy who's also fixing the town is annoying. Just like, there's no one to really root for, and you're kind of stoked to see them all die. But then that sister, she's throughout the whole movie, and she's just like driving me crazy, and just like damn, like I want to see everyone die in this movie so bad.
And honestly, I have to give the filmmakers a benefit of the doubt, because I do believe a lot of the interference with this movie, we know that this movie has a troubled past. Like, we know that this movie was sold to Netflix because they didn't want to release it in theaters. Legendary fucking bailed on this movie. Let's be honest. Like, the screening scores, their cinema scores weren't good in their test screenings. So they just fucking bailed, and they sold the movie to Netflix. I would like to believe that the version that we ended up getting wasn't the screenings, those original screenings movie. Maybe it was trying to be something weird. Maybe it was trying to be something bizarre. Maybe it was trying to be something original. Maybe by the final round of notes and trying to fix this movie, we got what we finally saw. I mean, essentially, we did get what we finally saw, because there's definitely notes that pass through. It's not like they showed the first cut to screeners, and then the screeners didn't like it because they were just like a basic audience. So it's not even cult. It's not even like, it couldn't even be a cult movie. Like, because, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, it's not anything like the original, but it's a cult movie. Like, people still like it because it's so different than the original and it's its own thing. But this, it's just trying, like you said, to be so many other things that we've seen recently, and it just not really hitting the mark, and it doesn't really find its footing to become its own thing. But maybe that first original test screening they showed was its own thing, and then they just tried to remold it into being, hey, what we know how the requel of Halloween did well, let's just kind of create our version of that. But you just don't have those emotions for those characters from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre like you do through how many movies of seeing Laurie in Halloween. It just doesn't make sense.
I know I said there was a lot that I did like about it. Like I said, I do like the setup, and then also the tension that this movie builds. Then again, I was high out of my mind while watching this movie. That's definitely the way to watch this movie. I'll give it credit. Like, it's been a while since I was scared watching a movie, and that scene where he starts ripping the face to make his Leatherface mask, like, that scene was creeping me out, and the tension within that scene, as well as the little chase scene at his old orphanage home when he's following the boyfriend and girlfriend around that apartment house complex. Like, those are pretty intense sequences, and like, it felt like I was watching Don't Breathe in those instances. So like, it's really good at building tension, and like I said, the kills are very fun in this movie. Like, that first kill that he does, like, I had to look away. I was like, oh fuck, they went like all out with that first kill. They'll just say bones are involved, and just like, I was so surprised. So it had some stuff that was working for it, but just, it wasn't enough of what I wanted, and I really trusted Fetty to bring us something that like we would like and stuff. And just like, this is his first miss on my end. Like, I didn't like the first Evil Dead remake when it came out, but like, I've grown to appreciate it a little bit more and stuff. But yeah, it's just a disappointing watch, I'd say.
I have to ask you though, I assume you're a fan of the original movie, and going into this movie, what did you want? Because I beg to ask myself the same question. Like, honestly, like, watching this, I'll be honest, like, I don't know if like, I really do put the first film on a very high pedestal. I don't think any film in the series, I mean, I know any film in the series doesn't reach those heights, but I think the second does its own thing, so therefore I don't judge it upon the first one. I'm just like, oh, it's its own thing. It's very culty. It's very cult. It's very 80s. So I like those elements, but I don't really weigh it towards the original film at all.
What's missing from it, I'd say, is, I hate to say it sounds weird, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies are normally family films. There's always like a weird family gathering. Of course, I get it. It's like 50 years later. Everyone was killed in the original. This is a direct sequel and stuff. But, I'd love to see that, like, maybe Leatherface just forced all these other orphans within the house to become his new brother and sister and turn them to be crazy or something. But that's overall what's missing. I think everyone, like, of course, Leatherface is the one that sticks out. But in the first one, it's the hitchhiker who's like the true villain and stuff. And then what's his name? Like Hatchback or something like that. In the second one, the guy with the metal plate in his head, he's the guy you remember. He's the final kill of the movie, I'm pretty sure, too. It ends with the girl sawing him off at the top of the hill and stuff. Like, that's, I thought, was missing. I missed that aspect of like, not really just like a bunch of people screaming at each other for 10 minutes. That's what makes the original one so horrifying. Like, there's just a weird 15-minute climactic scene where it's a dinner scene, no one's saying anything, they're all just screaming at each other for no reason. And I missed that uncomfortableness, I'd say.
Yeah, that's Chop Top, and that's played by Bill Moseley, that you're mentioning from the second one. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they really had, they took some big, like, I'll be honest, I'm going to assume that they took some big swings, and that's why this ended up on Netflix. I don't think we saw those big swings as they were probably supposed to be seen. I don't know if we're gonna, I mean, being that this is Netflix, I doubt we're ever getting like a director's cut or anything. I'm not saying like I'm not asking for, you know, the Zack Snyder cut or anything here for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm just gonna assume that I'm gonna give the filmmakers the benefit of the doubt that whatever they had probably wasn't good, but we didn't get to see it. And what we got still wasn't good. So what's the point? At that point, it's just like, what's the point? Like, let's at least get the original bad version, because what we got was just trying to be everything else and just not hitting the mark at all.
Yeah, I mean, overall, that's pretty much it. Just it doesn't hit the mark. It's a bummer. It seems like everyone's kind of saying that, and normally I don't like agreeing with the general consensus, but just it's hard to really praise this movie. There's a lot within it that's cool. I do recommend checking it out if you're a fan of the franchise, but to get your own opinion and stuff. But yeah, it's just disappointing. Just like, if you're gonna say all the sequels suck and this one's way better, that's not the case. And that's, I think, what is bringing this movie down, by saying all the sequels suck, ignore them, this is the true sequel. And you're like, but this is it, really? Like, that's what makes this so disappointing, I'd say. But yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. It's directly on Netflix. It's so easy to check it out. So come back here and leave a comment letting us know what you thought about it.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click the notification bell to get all our latest updates.
And if you can't get enough of us here on YouTube, be sure to catch us down below through our social media links like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Anyways, guys, that'll conclude this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.